And welcome back to Mizzou Hockey TV. My name's Luca Vitale. Joining me today, Mason Budde. Mason, how we doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just glad to be back in the studio. We've been doing these virtual for a couple of weeks now, so it's great to be back in the studio and everything. But you're one of the new players on this team, so sort of just talk to us. Who are you exactly, and what got you to come to Mizzou?
So I'm Mason Budde. I've been living in St. Louis pretty much my whole life. To be honest, college hockey was never really even the question for me. It was going to be go to trade school. And so last, I guess, semester, I moved to Maine, played hockey there, just wasn't a great fit, didn't like it, and I kind of just texted my parents, was like, hey, I'm ready to go to school. And Mizzou was about only an hour and a half from my house now, and I knew a couple of guys on the team, and so I really was coming here, didn't even have an expectation of playing hockey, and Knapp kind of reached out and was like, hey, here you're coming here, you want to play? And I was like, sure, I'll kind of just give it a shot. And so Spoles kind of reached out, and that's kind of how I got here.
That's really cool. So you talked about trade school. What made you want to go to trade school?
So my dad's been labor his whole life, and we have a pretty decent lifestyle. So it's not. I've kind of seen the ups in it. I kind of seen the downs. My mom's an accountant, so I've seen kind of both sides. And originally, my dad's kind of been not really the school guy of the family. He was always go to work kind of thing, and then my mom's always go to school. So when I changed, I was like, do I really want to work for the next 60 years, or take some time, go to school, learn something?
That's awesome. So let's sort of talk about Mizzou's team, right? This is a team that prides itself on speed, physicality, getting pucks on the net. And with that in mind, what is something that you bring to the table? How do you want to impact this team?
I think my biggest thing is skating. It's always been my thing. Skating is 90% of the game, and that's kind of what I've been good at. So definitely the speed and skating ability is what I bring most to the table.
So before we get to that Arkansas series this past weekend, which definitely was a high-scoring affair, both games, let's talk about those ACHA rankings that just came out the Thursday before you guys went to Springdale. Checking in now at number 4 in the recent rankings, the 5th set that came out this season, and that is now the highest ranking in Mizzou's history in D3, so that's awesome to see. So with that in mind, what does that mean for you guys? What does that show that you guys are as a team?
Right. A lot of teams, it's we're going to be the highest they play. So kind of everyone wants to take down the team they're going to play highest. So even if we're 4, we kind of have a target in our back at all times, and there's not much. And we're not going to play teams. There's only 3 teams better than us, so you're not really playing them either. So we're kind of just keeping momentum, not building bad habits, because we're definitely playing teams below us and just advancing every day.
Yeah, so speaking of playing teams below you guys, Arkansas was the one that you guys just played this past weekend. They're number 10 in the new rankings. And just sort of talking about that series in general, not only did you guys play them for the second time this season, because you guys played them in November, but you weren't on the team, unfortunately, yet. You guys swept them at the Jeff in November. But now you got your first taste of Mizzou hockey. What was that moment like as soon as you made your debut?
Coming into that Arkansas battle was not what you'd expect. I don't know if you've seen it was the number 1 game of the week, and it was pretty packed, and I wasn't expecting it to be so physical. It was right out the gate, everybody was flying and trying to kill each other. So, it was definitely a culture shock almost coming into it.
Yeah, and you were not the only one that made your debut in that series, but rather Tyler Williams and Ethan DeGroat also made their debuts, and you guys all played on the same line. Can you just sort of talk to us? What did you think of your guys' performance on the line? What did you like? What did you didn't like?
As a line, it didn't last very long. It was 4 shifts, and me and Ethan got kicked out pretty fast. It wasn't really anything we shouldn't have been kicked out, but it's fine. But I grew up with both of them, so I've known Tyler and I've known Ethan for a long time. I played roller hockey with Ethan growing up, and then I played just hockey in general with Tyler growing up. So with 2 defensemen on Ethan's line, he was kind of at a short spice, but I think me and Tyler kind of slowly figured it out. But it was fun.
So going into this weekend against Dallas Baptist, what are some things that you guys want to improve? Just your guys' line in general. What is something you want to improve? We ended the weekend off with different lines. I ended up with Eli and I think Baker on my line. And so I think right now it's just with the new pieces. You have 3 new pieces. You have 2 defensemen, and you're kind of figuring out where does everyone fit in. I think it's just using this weekend to kind of get to know each other a little more and see if there's anything better to do. Yeah. And obviously with a series split against a very pesky Arkansas squad. This is a team that is known for showing up in big moments. They're known for winning championships. And obviously you guys saw your guys' winning streak collapsed, unfortunately. 15-2-1, 9-game winning streak, is now gone. But with that in mind, you guys are heading back at home for the last time this season. What was your biggest takeaway from that Arkansas?
I think it was just not being complacent. Coming into it, you hear club hockey, you think it's not really that serious or it's not that good of hockey. I mean, some of these guys can really play. I mean, both teams have guys that have played high level hockey that are capable of doing things. And I think it was kind of just a big change for me coming from where I played before. It was I kind of came in it's club hockey, it's just for fun. But then I got out there and it was this is serious hockey. Everybody's here to win. People want to win. Yeah,
and obviously, Nick Spolik, Andrew Knapp, they've told me all of that. This isn't just a club team. We want to take this serious. We want to be able to get to a national championship. Bucher has echoed that same sentiment the entire season. But with that in mind, there is a couple of patterns I want to sort of point within that Arkansas series. The first pattern, which I would say is the most obvious one, was you guys were down very early in both games. 2-0 in that first game. I think the goals were about a minute and a half each apart. So you guys were down 2-0 early on. And then the second game, you guys found yourself in a 3-0 hole. So with that in mind, obviously you may have a tendency to get down on yourself and feel like you can't get back up to get back in the game. However, you guys did not do that. You guys got back up and show you guys are Mizzou. We are number 4 in the country for a reason. So with that in mind, how do you not get so down on yourself and how do you overcome that adversity?
The most part, the leadership group is really good. It's a lot of older guys that have, been around. The maturity level's high, and then I know in younger guys like myself, we get frustrated, but the leadership has always even in the game, there was times where I was livid, but there was guys, even the older guys were always there, kind of just they really kind of pick it up on the bench, and they're super positive.
Yeah, and obviously that's a good thing that you have the senior leadership. Nick Spolik is definitely one of them. Trevor Jones. These are seniors that obviously have been through the dark days of this program. They've seen the transformation of this program, if you will. But another pattern that is important to point out within this Arkansas series is where those goals happen, specifically in the second game. We saw a lot of goals come from the point. So we saw Mikey Gatushvili get the first 2 goals with that. We saw Kyle Cruz get 2 goals from the point, but you guys also benefit from it. We saw Knapp get 1 from there. We saw Aaron Hemmer get 1 from there. So can you talk to us? Is that something you want to guys focus more on practice? Because it did benefit you, but it also harmed you.
Coming out of the first game, it was everyone knew there was no net drive. Guys were getting frustrated with it. And kind of as the game went on, the second game was kind of everyone, especially with Arkansas, they kind of collapsed in the middle of the ice. Leads to a lot of bodies in front of the net. It kind of played into our favor, especially on the power play, getting pucks through it all. Lots of shots got blocked, but the ones that were getting through were high quality and pretty on pace.
Yeah. And sort of transitioning now to Dallas Baptist this weekend, right? Last home series of the season, unfortunately. But with that in mind, Dallas Baptist, their record does not show it, but their play sort of resembles Arkansas. They score a lot of goals, they get a lot of shots on net, but they definitely allow a lot of goals on net. So with that in mind, what is your biggest focus going into this weekend?
I think the biggest thing is just closing gaps earlier. I think forwards and D, there were a lot of times in the game where we're just allowing the easy out, and I think that was just a kind of a team mistake, nobody in general. And I think that'll be the biggest thing is just shutting things down in the neutral zone or getting out of the zone early.
Yeah, shutting things down early, and you mentioned the early part. You guys, obviously, we mentioned it. You saw yourselves down 2-0 in the first game, 3-0 in the second game. What's the importance of a fast start?
Just getting on top of guys quick is it's a big part of the game. Slows their momentum. They kind of come in with this high energy, and then things don't go their way. It kind of kills them, and it just plays into favor. It's kind of what teams are built on, or the people that can come back.
Another thing that I would say is important going into this weekend is containing Dallas Baptist's playmakers, right? We saw that Arkansas, they were able to get a lot done with their playmakers. Kyle Cruz, Connor Chapman, these are guys that were able to get through the defense and just being able to cash in on opportunities that you guys were also able to do, but you weren't able to contain them. Well, we see on Dallas Baptist, that they got Christian Beckett, who is also a very good player. He reminds me of Kyle Cruz just a little bit. He's able to generate space. He's able to receive passes and find himself in the low slot to cash in. How do you contain playmakers like a Christian Beckett?
I think the big thing, I mean, especially with having the new guys and stuff, was just our systems weren't all together there. I think with this week we'll touch back on like our D zone. It's just kind of forcing them to areas that they don't want to be in. So for a lot of playmakers, they hate the corner. They like coming up. They like going down the wall. But the corner is kind of where the end all be all is for them. So kind of just pressuring guys to corners and spaces where they're forced to make mistakes is kind of just the only way to take care of them.
Yeah, and before we wrap up here, I do want to ask you, what are your 3 keys to get back in the win column and send the seniors off from home with a series sweep?
I think number 1 is just getting pucks on net anywhere, everywhere. Having zone time, so keeping the puck in the O zone as much as we possibly can out of our D zone. And I think the 3rd one was just having fun. I think the last game we kind of lost out on the fun part, and it kind of killed our momentum. But when we were having fun, we were scoring goals and playing a lot better.
Yeah, and how do you keep that mentality? How do you have that fun aspect in your game that it doesn't like get too serious, but rather you guys are also having fun?
It's really just taking periods to reset. So like if you have a rough period and it's like or a rough couple of shifts, just finding a way to realize like the more negative they get, the worse you're going to play. So it's all about just bringing yourself back up, and I think that's where leadership comes in big, is they kind of bring everybody up all together.
All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in to Mizzou Hockey TV. Be sure to go on our website, check it out, follow us on social media, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and also don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter, as that is a new thing coming out every single week now. My name's Luca Vitale, joining me Mason Budde. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.